The village in it with a map and a plan. No place too tiny for this determined man. Crossing the counties one by one, you'll see in every English corner a bit of history.
Welcome back to Cheshire East again, everybody. Now, it's almost pointless putting the Strava on for this episode. I will, though, still put it on. The reason it's almost pointless is because from this position here, you can see the end of our walk. I'm not even joking. We're starting here and we're ending just up there at that junction. That's how big this place is, i.e. not very. This is Marthall. Marthall, Weasel Nook. After exploring the lovely village of Ollerton yesterday, we find ourselves today in its much smaller neighbour, Marthall, which has been linked to it since 1976. Although the two villages keep their own separate identities, they share a parish council, something that Marthall is used to doing. As we learned in Little Warford, this village used to be within one part of a former parish. Named Marthall-cum-Warford, it was split into two parts in 1951, with the eastern portion becoming Little Warford and the western section becoming Marthall. That setup and those boundaries are the same today. Marthall means Weasel's Nook, taking its name from the creature known as a marten. You may recall Marefield in Leicestershire had the same derivation. Marthall is around 3 miles away from Knutsford, access to which is provided by the A537, a former turnpike road connecting it to Macclesfield. Although a lot smaller than Ollerton, it's Marthall which has most of the facilities and amenities that are shared by the two villages. Here you'll find a village hall built in 2009, and on the central junction where the A537 sweeps its way past the place is the church. Yes, at last, we will finally come to a church here in Cheshire East. So far, we haven't seen one, and we're 4 episodes in. Continue down the A537 towards Macclesfield and you'll see that Marthall also possesses a pub called the Egerton Arms. That sits on the edge of Chelford, but it's just on the Marthall side of the boundary. We won't get much of a walk in this one. In fact, a lot of this will be done by driving. Let's go. This is the area covered by the modern Marthall Parish, created in 1951 after it split from Little Warford. That extinguished the former Marthall-cum-Warford marked on this map. The main village of Marthall can be defined as this area here, along the route of the A537. It has just 2 main landmarks of note, those being the church and the village hall. Marthall is, though, a much larger parish than the size of the village would have you believe. It's very rural out here, and so to the north and west it encompasses a lot of farmland. There are several farms along Pinfold Lane, which becomes Marthall Lane in Ollerton. Then to the east is Sandlebridge Lane, a loop-like lane with more farms that connects it all to Little Warford. Let's get started with those northern areas. Here we are zoomed in on Pinfold Lane, and you can see how rural it was back in 1900. It's pretty much exactly the same now. Fir Tree Farm, Brook Farm and Pinfold Farm all still exist, whilst the land around them is still covered by arable fields. Let's drive it. Farming has been the main economic practice out here for several centuries, and it still continues to be. This farmland to the north of the village has been churning out crops for years. It's also designated greenbelt land, so the would-be housing developers out there who often eye up this kind of area aren't able to build on it without a lot of hassle. This rural area has diversified a bit over the last century. Some of the Sandlebridge Lane farms have become small industrial estates, housing various other things. These include a fitness centre, a vehicle repair garage, an upholstery shop and a catering equipment store. In addition, on the main A537, there's a big business called Marthall Tree Products, which makes things like wooden fences. They were formed in 1990, initially operating from a bug-infested caravan within the former Marthall Nursery. Their early focus was on landscaping products. It all keeps the economy of Marthall going, even if it's not wholly traditional now. There are some clues on the map too, as to some other forms of historic industry. Where Pinfold Lane meets Sandalbridge Lane, there's an area marked as Fallows Cross. It has a few more houses now than this shows, but they aren't anything greatly special. Look to the left of them though, and you'll see the words Brickfield. It's only small, but that's a clear indication that this land was perhaps utilised for the making of bricks. This is what the brickfield looks like now. If bricks were once made here, you'd likely never know. The only clue to its potential existence would be those trees. They stand in what appear to be little pools, likely left behind by small-scale extraction. If this was a brickworks, it was never huge and was probably a side project for a local farmer. Okay, so the rain has finally stopped, which is a good thing. It means I'm not going to get wet in this one. But to be fair, I think I'd be pretty good at dodging spots anyway in this place because there's virtually nothing to it. There's two landmarks in the main village. One of them is behind me, that's the village hall. The other one is the church, which is on the junction you saw at the beginning of this video. Let's check them both out. After following the lane south even more, we come into the main Marthall village. Much like Ollerton, it's based around a crossroads. Again, this hasn't changed much from here to now. The Church of All Saints is still there, as are the houses on the opposite side of the road. Where there has been a change is to the north, where today there's a brand new village hall. This is the village hall, and it was built in 2009. A communal building of some description has stood here though for many years. This, the current hall, was first proposed in 2007. Before this was built, there was a wooden structure here, which was decaying and needed to be replaced. The wooden predecessor had several faults. Its low ceiling and poor heating were the main ones. These led to a decision to build a new hall, and quickly. The other option was to demolish it, but there was a strong community desire to retain a community building, despite the fact that the people were increasingly unwilling to use the old hall. To build the new one, grants were obtained from the Big Lottery Fund, Wren, Cheshire County Council, Manchester Airport, some local businesses and the Parish Council. Planning permission for the new hall was granted in 2008 and construction started in spring 2009. It was officially opened that December with a new, simple name, the Hall at Marthall. Literally next door, flanked only by a handful of houses on the opposite side of the road, we have the church, our first look at one within the district of Cheshire East. Dedicated to All Saints, this serves the villages of Marthall, Ollerton and Little Warford. As you can tell, it's a pretty modern building. There's no ancient stone here. Built in 1839 and consecrated by the Bishop of Chester in the November, it was designed to be a chapel of ease to the church in Rosthern, north of Knutsford. The land on which this church sits, known as Glover's Cross, was donated by Wilbraham Egerton. The building work was completed in 1841. At that time, there were more than 300 people living within 1 mile of the site of the church, but more than 2 miles from an existing place of worship, hence the need for it. Previously, parishioners had attended church at Over Pever, using an almost dead straight lane from Glover's Cross to Pever Church for their journeys. After the opening of Marthall's church, the lane became redundant and was wholly absorbed into the surrounding fields. You can, however, still trace bits of that lane if you look carefully on overhead imagery. A new chancel and vestry were added to the original building in 1886 thanks to Wilbraham Baron Egerton of Tatton, not the same guy who donated the land. The church contains 3 beautiful stained glass windows located in the apse of the church. They act as a memorial, added in appreciation of the generosity and support shown by Baron Egerton. In 2006, 120 years after they were installed, the parishioners here raised £4,000 to cover specialist restoration and repair work necessary to the windows and the apse. So yeah, according to Strava, that took me all of 8 minutes to walk between the village hall and the church. Not a very big place at all when you think about it. But of course the parish is much bigger than this main village. We've already seen bits of it. It extends all the way down to Chelford, which is the next big village that way towards Macclesfield. And we're going to drive that now. We're going to see what's down there. we're going to be talking about a car boot sale and also a pub. To finish with, we're heading down the A537 towards a pub which bears the Egerton name, helping to solidify the history of this area. Simply named the Egerton Arms, it sits on the parish boundary with Chelford. Between here and the pub though, note too what else is marked on this map. It's a moated site. Despite my best efforts to find out some information about the moated site, I found nothing. The moat has now been built over, occupied by Marthall Farm. Driving along the A537 takes us past that site, but it also takes us by the gates of a field where the Chelford car boot sale is regularly held. The history of the boot sale is connected to the late Richard Scott, who owned a large farm in the area and organised car boot sales from it. Richard Scott was a multi-millionaire, known to many around here as the car boot king. He died at the age of 81 after making a packet running them. His car boot enterprise was the UK's second biggest, and it was run from what the Knutsford Guardian once described as a vast Cheshire farm. That farm was Marthall. Marthall Farm and the field where the boot sales are held once featured on TV. ITV's Car Boot Challenge was filmed right here. Richard Scott's son, Adam, helped manage the boot sales for many years and still does. They're usually held on Sundays and on bank holiday Mondays. Recently, there was a legal dispute over Richard's will, which saw Adam do battle with his stepmother over a £5 million sum, the inheritance of the farm, and the future of the car boot sale. The car boot sale is still going strong though. It mainly features families selling unwanted goods, with one or two traders adding to the mix. It costs £1 to enter, and plenty of parking is provided on the fields. Bargains can be had if you look hard enough. And I suppose if you walk around the car boot sale, you have the perfect excuse afterwards to go to the pub. Just down the road we find the Egerton Arms. This was originally built in the 15th century as the stables for horses on their way to Tatton Park. Later, the building was a known haunt for highwaymen. They used tunnels under the road as part of an escape route, with the bricked up entrances to those still visible in the cellar to this day. The pub is now mainly a large single room on 3 levels with rural decor and low lighting. It has a real fire too, which provides an intimate atmosphere. A separate small games room is used for pool and darts, and there's a garden. The interior is both child and dog friendly too. Since becoming a free house, the pub has offered a good range of drinks, including some from the local Mobley Brewhouse. Food-wise, you can get some beer-battered fish here, renowned as the best in the locality. The chips served with it are made from potatoes grown in the field literally over the road. With live music every 3 months and quiz nights on the last Thursday of the month, the Egerton Arms is by far one of the best pubs in the area, and long may it continue to be. So that's it for Marthall. Now, because we're on the parish boundary with Chelford, you'd perhaps be forgiven for thinking we're off there next. Not so. We're going to Chelford soon, but first we're going to wrap up this week with a visit to a parish whose days are numbered. You'll see what I mean tomorrow. Now, just before I go, remember, this video is part of a huge project to visit every civil parish in England. That's more than 10,000. These routes are pre-planned, and due to time constraints, I can't cover every detail or walk down every street. Please don't complain if this video missed something out. I pronounce names how I choose to. I am very aware that local dialect may vary, and I don't take kindly to criticism about this. You've been warned. It's impossible to know everything too. If this video was terrible, make your own. If you're a regular watcher of The Village Idiot, you're not the only one. If you've got a small business, why not use my videos to advertise it? Leave a comment below if you're interested. And finally, thanks for watching this episode, everybody. Give us a like and a subscribe if you've enjoyed this episode, and share it with your friends and relatives. It all helps to keep this mission going. Until next time, I've been Andy, also known as The Village Idiot, and I'm out.